What's going on, everyone? I am back. Crypto is bounced back up, but is dropping as we're talking right now. It's live wrestling with $63,000, but we had a lot to break down this show. As you guys know, I missed Friday, Saturday. So even though I was not here, I made a bunch of calls that weirdly came true. And we're going to get into the details of what those means. But if you're excited, go ahead and smash the like button. If you're excited about this live show, let's go ahead and get into it. Hit the intro, T-shirt. All right, as I said, price is dropping at the moment. And again, literally during the intro, we did lose 63,000. But before we get into the charts, I do want to introduce the co-host for the show. That is T-Shroom from down there in Gainesville, Florida. T-Shroom, how are you doing today? How are you doing this entire weekend?
Well, Tim, I'm doing better than I deserve.
Good.
I really am. This has been a little bit of a crazy weekend. Had a lot of family time up in a different city. We did some traveling up into Jacksonville, Florida, if anybody's familiar. So that was a lot of fun. And also, my fiance had her wedding shower, which is different from a wedding, and it's different from a bachelorette party. So these are all things that I'm learning about, and they're very cool. And a lot of fun was had by all. So great weekend. How about yourself? You saw a little football, didn't you?
I did, and I was telling T-Shroom right before we went live, everybody, there's going to be some things that I'm asking T-Shroom questions because while I am aware of what happened over the weekend, and I kept roughly up to date with price action and rough details, I turned off crypto and trading brain, and I did buy some dips, so that part I did do, but I turned off that crypto brain. I turned on family and football, had a very amazing weekend, got to see a good friend of mine I have not seen since last football season, and got to hang out and watch Virginia Tech win. Now, Virginia Tech was playing Virginia Tech. It's very confusing. College football in the spring is maybe weird to people who are not here in the United States, but it was very, very fun weekend. And I'm glad to be back and get into these details because I want to start off by letting everybody know, these prices that happened are all of the levels that we called here on Investing Bros. It's actually something I want to get into the weirdness of. And I'm going to have some takes, but I want to throw them by T-Shroom because, again, T-Shroom stayed up to date with all the news, the details, whereas I'm still catching up. But it's actually, to me, weird how accurate all of my predictions are. I want you guys to know when I give price predictions, I give ranges, and I like to buy a little bit above my low calls, and I like to sell a little lower than my high calls. We're going to go into the charts in this show, and I'm going to show you how deadly accurate my calls are, and surprises the crap out of me. I have a thought about that. It's actually not me sitting here flexing how amazing I am. I actually think it's weird how accurate my calls were, and we'll talk about that a little more. But T-Shroom, we have gotten pretty deep into the show, into this intro, and we have not even had our traditional quote of the day. So what do you got for us today?
Do you love life? Then do not squander time, for that's the stuff life is made of. What do you think about that one there, Tim?
I was going to say that's pretty much my thought this weekend. A lot of people in my shoes probably would have paid way more attention to what happened this weekend. You know, some people might even disagree. Some people might have been like, Tim, you should have, even though you were gone, you should have been staying up to date with everything crypto and paying attention to the news. I'm sorry. I was on vacation. I was going to go watch some football. I was going to spend time with my family. I said, you know what? The news will still be there on Monday. Unless I'm terribly wrong, crypto will not drop to zero by Monday. I will come back and I'll get caught up to date. But guess what? And maybe this is a shocker to some of you out there. There are things in life more important than crypto. I love crypto.
No.
And I plan on making a lot of money in crypto, but it's not the center of my universe.
Tim, there is you mentioned the people in your shoes, right? Which made me think of this children's book, The Old Woman Who Lived in a Shoe. Did you ever read this book?
I think I'd be surprised if someone didn't. That's a pretty classic child story.
Let us know in the chat. Drop a 1 if you have read or have been read to this book, The Old Woman Who Lived in a Shoe.
Yeah. Well, yeah, put a 1 in chat if you guys read it. Put a 73. If you have no idea what that book is, that's a confusing number for people that are confused by that story. T-shirt, let's get in here and let's check out the markets before we jump into the charts. Now, CoinMarketCap open red today. Again, I'm telling you, we're actually quickly moving back down towards 62,000. We're going to get over the charts here very quickly. I'm going to be very brief. Down 13% this week, last 7 days for Bitcoin, down 17% for Ethereum. But then you take a look at some of these other BNB only down 7, but Solana 25, XRP down 22. Toncoin actually still up because how bullish the week started for it. But, you know, Dogecoin and Cardano both over 20, Avalanche over 31% to the downside. A lot of big losers here more recently. We do have some big gainers. Core up 52% in the last 24 hours. So everybody else's losses seems to be Core's gain. Ultimately, that's probably just a lot of volatility. Still down 18% in the last 7 days. OKB is up 9%. IOs, I think it's the AIOs, is up 7%. Quant, Neo, Ondo. I saw a lot of people saying they're buying Ondo on this dip. They are probably up. So is Pendle. Big losers, though, last 24 hours. Dog with hat. There's a meme. Pepe, Bonk. There's 2 more memes. Memes are not. If you guys are looking at memes right now thinking, oh, man, the best place to make money right now is memes, probably not. During this period of time, memes not only are going to be probably continuing to bleed, I don't expect major big bounces on memes either. I can explain a little bit later why that is, but memes are definitely bleeding during this time period. And we're just going to go and jump on over to the charts because things are heating up down here. We're coming back down. Now, I want to start before we get too far into this, and I will have questions throughout the show for T. Shroom, who is paying way more attention to the news.
Yes.
Of course, the catalyst here, guys, before we even go to the charts, the catalyst for all the bearishness is that Iran has attacked Israel, right? So war on the horizon. Some people are calling this a black swan event, yada, 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 right? I want you humor me for a minute. Forget that you knew anything about the news. Let's just say you lived in the middle of the woods and your internet and your computer only connected to TradingView and then your wallet to buy and sell crypto. Like the old woman in the shoe. Thank you, T-Shroom. Go back to the charts here, T-Shroom. Let's just pretend we don't know anything about Israel, about Iran, about Ukraine, about Russia, about anything in the news, and all we had was this chart. Is this bearish? Yes, slightly. You know, I'll tell you about how potentially Bitcoin could go lower. But as a whole, when I look at this chart, let me just, I'll redraw this red line here in a little bit. Let's just get rid of that red line for a second. Let's get rid of this yellow line as well. We'll redraw all of them. Is that really a bad looking chart? Not at all. In fact, we told you guys, I told you guys, despite the fact that I thought that crypto was about to take a big splash, I told you, I'm not convinced that Bitcoin will drop below 60,000. I just was not convinced that was needed to happen. Sure enough, if you're looking here at Bitcoin over US dollar index, it only went to 61.5. I think if you go to Coinbase, it went down to those same wick, and we got down to 60,800 or so. But finding support on the wick that we were just at back here in March. This is not that bearish of a chart, everybody. I had some lines in there, and actually I'll go and leave them off in this one. I can look on Coinbase. Technically speaking, I do want you guys to know that this being a rising wedge / rising trading channel, theoretically speaking, we could see the price of Bitcoin. I'm just going to do the opening of this kind of trend for this big move right here. We could see this be an implication that Bitcoin should drop back down to $57,000, $56,000. We'll probably talk about that a little bit more. But as a whole right here, the bulls, even though right now we're getting a bounce, we're heading back up towards 63, the bulls have continued to defend 60,000 just as we talked about. All of this terrible, terrible, terrible news only sent Bitcoin back down to levels that were strong support only a month ago. And then you back up. Let's go back and pretend we could put ourselves back in the shoes of February. We're sitting here at $60,800 in Bitcoin thinking we're impoverished. If you were thinking with the same brain as February, you're like, wait a minute, we're over $60,000? That's awesome. That's amazing. I'm not saying that Bitcoin 100% is done, but here's what I'll say, guys. I have been, people have joked with me for a while now. Oh, Tim is so bearish. Tim is so bearish. He's always calling for these pullbacks. Was I not right? Did the pullbacks not happen? They actually very weirdly happened pretty much to the dollar of everything I predicted. So guess what, guys? Tim is not bearish. I'm going to talk about what happens if we keep going lower, but do you guys want to know right now why Tim is so bullish? Because this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. This is exactly, I knew something. I told you guys, I didn't say what it was going to be. I said there will be some story that gets pulled out of a hat that will make all of these altcoins fall back down. It'll make Bitcoin go back and wrestle with 60K. It'll make altcoins go back to levels we have not seen in months with upwards of 50 to 60% pullbacks. I said all of these things, and I said I don't know what the story is going to be, but it's going to be something filled with a lot of FUD. All right. So here's something. Let's break this down, T-Shroom, because you do know about this. And we're going to go back to the charts here in a second, guys. We're going to go back to the charts and we're going to look at the price actions and we're going to look at what the future could look like. But the news of what caused this whole thing is Iran. It is Iran attacking Israel.
Right.
Correct. That is the news. We had some bearish numbers in our economy, but the truth is they really weren't that bad. That kind of got the ball rolling, but then Iran sends a bunch of rockets into Israel. I'm not going to break down what's happening in the war there. That's a completely different conversation. My point is, oh no, we're so surprised. Didn't Iran say a couple of days before they warned Israel they're going to attack, correct, T-Shroom?
That is correct. They not only warned them, they delivered the Swiss embassy with the flight patterns and the trigonometry of what their missiles were going to be doing, the flight path. And so it was a near certainty that the Iron Dome that Israel employs to defend itself from such missile strikes was going to be effective, and it was 99% effective, according to CNN. So, what exactly is sending the markets lower is just general uncertainty and a risk-off appetite.
Yeah, let's keep going though, because I'm going to make a point here. So they warned days before they're going to attack. Then they warned them as they're launching. Israel knew. They said, okay, they launched 100 rockets, whatever the number was. It's going to take 8-9 hours to get there. I heard a joke that I think is hilarious. Who was delivering these rockets? FedEx? Like, Why did it take 8 hours for rockets? How slow were these rockets that it took 8 hours for them to get from Iran into Israel? My point here, I'm not going to just stop. I think you guys can see where I'm potentially going with this. I'm not going to call what's happening, all the strife in the Middle East and the strife between Ukraine and Russia, which is technically Europe/Asia area. I'm not going to call that fake warfare, right? There's definitely a lot of stuff going on that needs to be settled, and we are far from peace. But this specific situation smells of so much. It just has so much weird senses to it that reek of manipulation. Someone said in chat here, of course, it all also happened right before tax day, right before we have money. I have been warning you guys, have I not, that prices are going to pull back because when retail misses the boat, when you and me, the people who are going to invest maybe $1,000, maybe $10,000, maybe $50,000, maybe some of us can invest $100,000. Great, that's awesome. When people like us want to invest and we miss the boat, screw us. But when whales, I'm not talking about people investing $100,000. I'm talking about whales who want to invest a couple $100 million, maybe $1 billion. When those whales miss the boat, somehow, some way, they always bring the boat back. Now, they can only bring it back so far because, of course, when there's a lot of buying pressure, you can't dip the price but so low. That's why I think Bitcoin didn't go a lot lower. It's really hard with all of the worldwide adoption and desire to get on these Bitcoin ETFs, this flight to quality. It's really hard to suppress that price down. But the altcoins, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That's why things dipped so fast, so hard. It's because the whales missed the boat.
And what I would say is I would say that the timing here of these escalations are not for the market, right? I think what's happening here is that big institutions are capitalizing on this moment, and to the extent that they had a bunch of sell orders ready to go, they took advantage of that moment. Oh, big gray swan, everybody's talking about it's ricocheting through global media. Let's hit the sell button. Let's spook the markets, shake out the weak hands. I personally don't think that there were escalations orchestrated for markets specifically. Has that happened in the past? I think that there probably has been instances of that. I think this is the timing. The timing in my recollection seems to be it was in response, and I believe this is what Iran has said, in response to an embassy in Syria that was blown up that belonged to Iran. So that is what my estimation of why Iran pulled the trigger now. But in this morning, I kind of made the comment that the audience for this aggression was, I think, the Iranian people. I think it was to instill a sense of courage, a sense of like the momentum is moving in the right direction for Iran by giving the Iranian people something to get excited about. I don't know that the outside world was really the audience for this move, and it didn't actually hurt anybody because the people of Iran didn't have to know that Iran sent the information about the flight trajectory to their enemies, right? So I think that to me that seems like the most sound theory of what's going on here is we're not the audience, the Iranian population is the audience for this move.
Listen, T-Shim, you're a trusting guy, and I'm not going to get the details. I just smell fishiness.
Sure.
And then let's talk about the charts. Let's go back to the charts here. I'm going to show you guys. This is the portion of the show that I'm going to call the "I told you so," and this is really weird portion of the show, right? I want you guys to know, I have not added a single line, a single graph, anything to these charts. We are about to go through everything, and you guys can backtest this by watching our videos. We're going to go back to every single major call Tim has made, right? Of course, I've told you guys my doomsday scenario for Bitcoin's down to 48, but remember, I said this wick right here. Thank you for that, T-Shroom. This wick right here. Watch that be strong support. Where did we wick down to? Literally down to the exact almost dollar. Bitcoin moved down that far. Weird. Let's go take a look at some other things. Let's go look at Cardano. You guys remember my purple line here? Let's go to the daily chart. We have a little more talking right. Oh, there we go. T-Shim's playing out loud.
You got to be talking right.
Talking about, remember the $40 prediction? Remember back to the resistance that we had back here in November? That purple line I drew last week. Where does that wick go? Barely, if I really zoom in really hard, barely right below it down to, I guess because that line didn't go to 40 cents perfectly. It went to, 40.003, whatever. But when I kind of get this perfect touch off that line, that's Cardano. Remember Solana? Remember when I said it makes a lot of sense to do something along the lines of 40% pullback back to 124, but I said, you know what? Let's take a look at this resistance right here down to 118, 119. Look where that wick went.
Oh, wow.
On Solana. Remember when I said Chainlink, I said, keep an eye on the zone of support we had back here, but there's an off chance this zone right here, there's an off chance we go down to $12. Where did Chainlink go to? Boom. Well, remember when I said with ICP, keep an eye on that orange support level. Keep an eye on about $11. It actually went a little lower. Went down, wicked down to about 10.85. But can you guys give me 15 cents when I said $11? Can we give me 11 cents? Or what is that? 15 cents. Perfect. AVAX. I guess I didn't have a line down here. Actually, AVAX is one of the ones that did drop below. I put it down to 32. But look at the way their candle bodies are closing. My point here, this is the I told you so / this is weird. Guess what, guys? With Black Swan events, things go nuts. Let's take a look. When people want to call this a Black Swan event, I'll tell you what a Black Swan event is. There's nothing you can say about COVID that wasn't a Black Swan event. Look at where we went down to. There is nothing of real significance. Maybe you could say there's some heavy volume, but this wasn't a major resistance level. This wasn't the bottom of the bear market for Bitcoin. The price just dropped as long as there was fear, and then people bought into the fear because they realized that was an opportunity of a lifetime. But there's no significance to that drop. If I were to go back to Ethereum and I come back here to the bear market, to that Black Swan event, look at it. Did it set a new low? No. Did it go back and double bottom? No. It went to a random spot where just the fear ran out. I could keep doing this. We have Cardano went to brand new lows. This is this market. I have to go back way over here. Cardano went to brand new lows. Those are levels that are significant back to October 17, but ultimately that's just a chart here. Don't pay attention to that one. There was no significant support level. There was random action. It was just COVID hit. People got afraid. They sold their crypto, and then someone with a lot of money started buying those falling knives. This one, what we just saw, if people are calling this a Black Swan event, that is not a Black Swan event. How is it a Black Swan event when it fell to the exact levels that we told you the charts were screaming for? To me, This stinks of manipulation. This is exactly what I told you guys would happen. This is that Wyckoff theory. I know people have asked him, can you talk more about Wyckoff? This is the Wyckoff theory of when they want you to sell, they will pump with FOMO. When they want you to buy, they will FUD. Or sorry, when they want you to buy, they'll pump with FOMO. Yeah, sorry. And they'll say, oh, everything's about to go so bullish. Keep buying, keep buying, keep buying. Buy our bags. And then when everything gets rough, they'll say, oh, this is really FUD. This is bad stuff here. Fear is already down. Sell back to us. They created their story. They found a story, whether there's deep manipulation and there was work within what happened between those governments. And don't tell me that you don't think the CIA has done stuff like that before. Or whether they just took advantage of the situation to do exactly what they wanted. I smell manipulation because these things went exactly where we said they would go. And we'll talk more about what happens potentially. Could we go a little bit lower? There is a chance we go lower, but I'm going to tell you guys right now. I polled our audience a month ago. I even think like 2 weeks ago, pretty much saying, is Bitcoin going down? Is crypto going down? Should we go sideways, go up? There was an overwhelming amount of people believing at least sideways, if not up, about 2 weeks ago. I was laughed every channel I went on, and every time I talked about these big pullbacks coming, 50% pullbacks coming for altcoins, 20 to 30% coming for Bitcoin. I was kind of laughed at, oh, Tim, you're just a bear. Oh, you're just a bear. But now I'm polling people today, and there's an overwhelming feeling that the dip is not over. The crash is not over. The news is telling you the crash is not over. I, right now, after being bearish for a while, feel sufficed by this pullback. I'm bullish. I'm buying. I don't know if suffice is right. Satisfied. I'm satisfied completely because this is what bull markets do. They pull back because we rallied way too fast, way too quickly, way too strong. And now we have our big pullbacks. And now that the overwhelming feeling in everyone's gut is it's not over. Now we're hearing the bears come out of the woodworks and say, are you prepared for altcoins to set brand new lows? If they were going to set brand new lows, we just missed it. Like, you can't surprise us now, right? Black swan events is something ridiculously terrible that comes out of the blue. If people think that a World War III is going to be a black swan event, you are wrong. I think most people are anticipating that this escalation is just now starting. There is nothing that could happen save for the worst terrorist attack of all time, which I guess is technically still there. There's nothing that could happen that would surprise us. Every country has their guard up. There are people right now, I'm here in Georgia. Good friend of mine, Joshua Jake, he's flying to a conference in Dubai. People are dropping out. People don't want to go to the conference. He's still going, but he knows he's going to be flying into a territory. He's going to be about 500 miles away from potentially where there's going to be rockets. People are not going to this conference. Everybody is preparing for more conflict. So you cannot tell me that the war is going to cause a black swan conflict or a situation because people are ready for it. So the fact that Bitcoin held up as well as it has, the fact that altcoins fell to the exact levels that I told you guys to keep an eye on, to me, smells like this was all manipulation. This was a bring the boat back for the wealthy. We already know the fiat currency sucks. We already know the world is at war right now. The people are very frustrated with each other, and the major countries are getting involved. I don't think altcoins are about to explode back to the upside. I'm not about to predict an altcoin season, but I am going to predict that the Bitcoin dominance will start to climb again, that Bitcoin will slowly but surely start creeping up again. It'll just do it faster than altcoins. Watch for altcoins to move more sideways and to the upside, and Bitcoin actually to go more significantly to the upside, just like we've seen in the past. This was the great pullback, and now you got a lot of people, millions of people worldwide, selling their bags into the FUD to BlackRock and to the whales and to Michael Saylor. These guys who are not afraid of fear whatsoever are buying all of your bags. Don't be selling. You should be buying right now, even if we go lower. And we'll do the Q&A. We'll have a lot of time for Q&A today. You guys tell me what coins you want me to look at. I'll show you what I think the upward movement is. I'll show you what I think the downward movement is. But my point here is I think double bottoms, maybe a couple altcoins go a little lower, but mostly your best buying opportunities have hit you. And you, if you did not buy them, were too afraid of the fear to understand that you are being played by people who have done this historically for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. I don't know how far back crazy market manipulation happens.
So it's not
I
the
don't.
same people.
Who knows? They could be. At this point, I wouldn't put it past. I wouldn't put it past some of these people in world powers to be regenerated or something. I don't know. Like, there's demonic stuff out there that's scary. We're not here to talk about that, though. We're here to talk about, should you be buying or should you be selling crypto? Guys, you would have been wanting your signs. We've been warning you of these signs. Do not FUD out simply because the news that I told you guys the news would say something big out of nowhere, and then it would be so fearful. It would be telling you need to sell. You need to sell. That is how crypto and market manipulation works. This is exactly what has gone on. It happened back in 2021. It happened back in 2016. I don't know. It happened back in, you just go throughout the history of bear markets and bull markets. It is always the darkest right before the light. They will always scream at you. It'll make the most sense in your brain to sell right before the biggest bull run is about to happen. And I think that's what we're going through right now. And it's just one of those things, like, please, continue to study for yourself, think for yourself. I'm not here to give you financial advice, but dang it, I called this perfectly. And it's not a thing that I'm almost weirded out at how perfectly I called it. That to me screams manipulation. It wasn't random. It was thought through. The bottom was located. That is where there were massive buy orders set up. That is a sign of massive manipulation. I'll rest. T-Shroom, you can temper my my rant. What do you disagree? Agree? What do you think?
No, I mean, Tim, it's hard sometimes to get on here and throw cold water on a bunch of a bullish chat. It doesn't feel good to do that, but this is why. It's because these events come out of nowhere and they remind everybody that the way that Wall Street, the way that the global investment class sees crypto is still speculative, high-risk assets. And 99% of them are. And something like 95% of crypto will go to zero, right? How does that feel hearing that? That's true. That's not something I'm just saying flippantly. That's what happened in the dot-com bubble. That's what happens to speculative tech assets, right, over the long term. Now, there's going to be 5% of crypto that doesn't go to zero and does the opposite, goes to 1 million, goes to infinity, right, in principle. But we try to keep a grounded sense of where these asset prices are going, specifically Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and more recently Ondo and Ordi and Chainlink and all kinds of different projects. And we try to cover them and see, are they continuing to deliver value? Are they continuing to build on the promise that their leadership has made through white papers, through websites, through Twitter accounts? And one of the best ways to do that is to follow the price per coin. And we do that on the charts. And sometimes we do it very, very intensely. And so when we're saying there could be a pullback, there could be a 10, 15, 20% pullback, heed the warning. And if you're hearing other people say that, heed the warning, especially if they've been in multiple cycles. Mm-hmm. And guys, I looked at it this morning. We didn't even have a full 20% pullback on this.
On Bitcoin, yeah.
It's on Bitcoin specifically. So, yeah, I think we got it right. And that's not to say that we weren't also bullish in the long term. That we are bullish in the long term. It's just in this phase of the cycle, right? In the transition from basically a bear market into a bull market, and then it starts to move into the Ethereum outpacing Bitcoin. We're not there yet, which is how we know we're still in a phase where there should be big pullbacks, 20, 30, even 40% pullbacks. It looks like we found a ton of support, and we may not go back and touch 60,000 per Bitcoin, especially now that we've had a kind of shakeout event. But this is just one event. Guys, I could come up with a bunch. I could be creative here and come up with a bunch of things that the same. If you want to go way out on the tinfoil hat limb here and say all kinds of different manipulations that could take place here by those who want to see the price go lower. Will they do that? I'm not sure, because two of the biggest banks in the world, Fidelity and BlackRock, just talked a bunch of their customers into buying this asset. They don't want to see it be hyper volatile. And I think that here we're kind of on the cusp, right, of that definition of that category being appropriate for Bitcoin. I would not say it's had a hyper volatile weekend. It's had a volatile weekend for sure, but so have the stock market, right? So have other global markets. So more volatility from here. is possible, but I do kind of expect things to go ahead and normalize as long as the escalation is limited to what we've seen so far. Now, Tim, are you ready to get into the news, or is there anything else that you wanted to cover before we do that?
Yeah, I want to get through the news even as quickly as possible because I do want to go back in the Q&A section. I want to go through. I want to go through charts and probably a lot of blue blood charts. I'm going to call that. Like that's like the Bitcoins. We'll look at if you guys want to take a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, ADA, Solana, Chainlink. I want to go through those. I'll probably make a video for tonight about one of those coins. So whatever I leave out, I'll probably make that one. But I want to show you guys because that was a lot of we looked at charts and we looked at past predictions. We didn't really look forward at all chart wise, other than me saying after me being kind of this bear for a while, saying we need a pullback. I am now bullish. I'm going to show you if we go lower what those levels would look like. But I'm telling you right now, I'm more bullish. I'm gonna spend way more time talking about upward movement, what we could expect, than downward movement because I've seen a lot of things happen here recently that show that this was the exact dip we were looking for to flush out the weak hands and now regroup for the bull market.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, we'll make it fast then. There's not a ton of news, and the news that we do have, you've probably already heard because I covered it this morning, but we will cover it here. This is brought to you by iTrust Capital. We trust iTrust. Do you trust iTrust? I hope you do. Moving into it, guys. We got a commercial here from Coinbase. Let's take a look. Let's take a listen.
Ooh.
Over time, your money gets you less. Does Bitcoin? Well, in 2012, one Bitcoin bought you this much pizza. In 2016, this much pizza. In 2020, this much pizza.
Pineapple pizza.
And in 2024, well, you get the gist. Roughly every 4 years, the future supply of Bitcoin is reduced. So historically, you get more, not less.
Bitcoin moves money forward. Tim, what'd you think of that one? Do you want to hop on that scooter and take a bite of the slice of pizza there?
Not if there's pineapple on it now.
Okay. Well, where there's no pineapples, there are me not being there. I love pineapple pizza, Tim, and I love a good transition too.
I don't know what is happening there. Let's talk about Germany.
Germany's largest federal bank, LBBW, to offer crypto custody services with Bitpanda. Very cool. So this would be for institutions only. It looks like they're kind of taking a similar route to the UK, where they're coming out with some additional cryptocurrency financial options to gain exposure, but it's going to be for the professional investment class, quote unquote, for now. But that is positive adoption for the Deutschland there. And then this one's the one that everyone has already read and everybody knows about. Hong Kong approves first batch of spot Bitcoin Ethereum ETFs in drive to become crypto hub. So it's not just Bitcoin, but it's also Ethereum as well. So that's very, very exciting. There is now spot exposure that you can get to. But I would say, why would you ever buy spot Ethereum ETFs when you could buy the Ethereum yourself and stake it and get more? Because you know that's what these ETF issuers are going to be doing. They're going to be buying the Ether and staking it, and you're going to miss out on all of that revenue generation. So I don't know. We'll see. But let's keep moving here because, I mean, it's bullish, right? But there's a lot of reasons to kind of balance this out. James Seyfert says it best pretty well here. The U.S. ETF market is almost $9 trillion in assets. That's trillion with a T. The entire Hong Kong market is $50 billion. Mainland China ETFs are $325 billion. So very, very small. And I pulled up an illustration of this. You can see this is the 109 trillion global stock markets in 2023, and it's really big for some reason. It's hard to see. But you can see the U.S. is here. It's the biggest one, 45% of the market share of the global stock market. And then the next biggest ones are China and the EU, and Hong Kong's right here with 4%, right? So if you're expecting a huge explosion higher from this headline, from this unlock, you're wrong. There is a very small exception to that, which is that a bunch of Chinese and Hong Kongers are sitting there ready to deploy a ton of capital because there's a disproportionate incentive to get out of the Chinese real estate and stock market. That is a possibility, but I am not holding my breath for that. I am not selling my ETH and Bitcoin though. I think that the market is probably at this point adequately pricing these assets moving into the halving. which is just 4 or 5 days away, by the way. Moving into our final story, Tim, before we get there, what is your take on these here? What do you think about Hong Kong, Germany?
Yeah.
I mean, is all this positive adoption? Is any of this, is there more to it maybe?
Yeah, I'll start by saying you'll take any dollar you can. Anytime we can turn money, a fiat currency, into crypto money, which effectively those people aren't, but banks are having to exchange their fiat currency out for holding these coins so they can hold the ETFs. That's a bullish thing. Is it going to? Is this news going to skyrocket Bitcoin to 85,000 overnight? No, it's not. It's not going to add that much pressure. But again, it's also convenient that we're getting more ETF news as all of these big dips are coming in. And guess what? When it says there's 9 trillion in the US and whatever, how many billion in Asia and other places, but you remember, it's not a lot of retail poor money in these ETFs. This is where the wealth is. This is where we have people saving for generational wealth. They're protecting their generational wealth. They put it in things like ETFs. The wealthy are going to get even more wealthy by putting their money into crypto after these nice dips. And so even if you only have $7, still take that $7 and do with it the same thing that the billionaires are doing with their billions, and you'll make a lot of money. So
as long as you can afford to lose it.
It's a bullish headline overall. It just might not individually itself move the markets that much.
Now, just to clarify, if literally all you have is $7, do not invest it. Buy
food.
Probably
don't do that. Yeah,
and water. Right, but if you have $7 that you have allocated for investments, that's what we're talking about here. But it's an excellent point here, Tim. Now, do you hate bots on Twitter, Tim?
I genuinely, yes. I don't like them very much. Hate's a strong word.
Okay.
I wish them well, but not on my Twitter page.
Okay. Well, I hate them. I hate the Twitter bots. And finally, it looks like something might be done about it. But it's ruffling some feathers here, Tim. This is breaking news. Elon Musk says X will soon begin charging a small fee for new users to reply or engage with a post. After many attempts, Elon Musk believes this is the only way to curb the relentless onslaught of bots should X charge users to make and use an account. What do you think, Tim? Should you pay to use X?
Yeah, it's a hard one. It's definitely going to hurt some people, but what you might see is more observers and less engagers, which could be an interesting. Like, I don't think he's saying that you're going to have to pay to see the post and to see the information. So we could just see a lot of people who do nothing but sit in their mom's basement trolling other Twitter accounts, cut back on that significantly because they don't want to have to pay for it. And so they'll just be observers. And that way we can actually have clear, organic conversation, right? If you you're going to have to pay, whatever you're going to say better be worth however much you have to pay to comment on it. You're not going to see the bots, like you said. You're not going to see the scammer or the troll who's just passing by and wants to leave some sort of hateful comment. I think it'll scale back on those things. And ultimately, I think the other thing people should think of, if anyone's thinking like, oh, I don't want to pay for social media, I'm going somewhere else. It's like, well, what does truth and decentralized information mean to you? Because you can get a lot of manipulated news on Facebook and Instagram. You can get a lot of stuff on other places. How much is it worth to you to have a place where you can actually hear a diverse opinion and hear real stories and hear what's actually happening and hear it in a decentralized way? I think it's more than worth it. I think I would definitely, pay for it because that's actually going to bring us real information.
Yeah. Well, it's new accounts. I'm not really exactly sure what's meant by new accounts.
I think that would imply something along the lines of like, if you have not interacted with that page ever before, you can't just all of a sudden out of nowhere start interacting with that page. Maybe like once you're a normal, contributor, you're kind of in that group.
Interesting. I have a feeling that if you have an X account today, you're probably grandfathered in, so to speak. But
we'll see. That doesn't really work very well because there's existing bots, but we'll see. I don't know.
Right.
That would be weird. That'd be weird if old users don't have to pay and new users do. I don't think that's how that will work. I think it means new specifically to each. Like if you've been commenting on Tim Warren's Twitter for a long time, you're probably good to go. I'm talking about if someone comes out of the woodwork and all of a sudden wants to start commenting on Tim Warren's Twitter, that person. I think that's what he's saying. That's
not how I read it, but
clearly, but we have different opinions. So I think we'll see. We'll see what it means. It wouldn't make much sense to me though to say that if you already have a Twitter account, all of a sudden you won't have to pay. That doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, in any case, it's likely not going to be so much money that we won't be able to afford, especially after the bull market. Tim, we are on the other side of the news. Welcome. Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching and you've had a chuckle, right? Maybe you've had a chuckle at my expense because I'm a crazy looking guy, or maybe even Tim with his VT hat. Go ahead and smash the like button. Okay, consider subscribing. We go live at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. every single day during the week, Eastern Standard Time, and 11 a.m. on Saturdays. We like to have fun, okay? But we also like to have grounded analysis of these crypto markets and the developments therein. We'd love for you to join the bros. You can do that by becoming a member. Now, let me make it clear. You can do that just by tuning in here on YouTube for free, but you can also join and become a member and have a deeper layer of relationship with the community here in the Discord and in the paid Discord, where you not only get to ask us any questions you want at any time about trading, you'll also get access to the different assets that we're actually buying, of which I revealed this morning on the morning stream. I may talk about them today, but this morning I revealed on the 9 a.m. what I bought during this dip. So that is going to be our news. That is going to be everything that you need to know in crypto for today. And tomorrow we'll be doing the same thing here live again, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love it. Quick check here on the bubbles.
We do need to do our factoid of the day. Grim Wave though said, random question: how often do you two actually see each other in real life? Well, we used to live in the same city, so we saw each other every day. When I moved up to Atlanta, obviously that put more of a distance. I've seen T-Shroom though, like probably 3 or 4 times. Went to a conference together down in Naples. Mm-hmm. I've passed through Gainesville and come to see him twice now. He's never come to see me in Atlanta. Not once. I've come to his city now like 3 or 4 times. So it tells you who's really the better friend. Just kidding. He is busy. And I usually when I see him, I'm just driving through. But yeah, we've seen each other a couple times, and then I'll see him here at his wedding here in a month and a half or so, give or take.
June 1st.
And he's going to move to Atlanta soon. Just kidding. He's refusing to do that as well. We'll see each other, though. It's a good question. Let's do our factoid of the day, and let's get into some charts, because we do have some thoughts here. People ask about render. I've seen people ask about a couple others. We'll have to, you have to do new requests, because I can't scroll back and see everything. But just type the coins you want to see some TA, and we'll talk about price levels.
Mm-hmm. Well, tax day is here and gone. It is past. But you can absolutely still sign up for iTrust Capital. We trust iTrust, and so should you. Now, Tim, as for the factoid of the day, in April 2019, Musk released a rap track titled What on SoundCloud? Was it A, Rip Sports, B, Rip Democracy, C, Rip the Prius, or D, Rip Harambe?
Gosh darn it. I have no idea. April 2019? It's not really election season, so probably not Rip Democracy. This is Elon Musk. I'm going to assume it's going to be Rip the Prius, but maybe that was put in there to throw me off. Look at the options again. What was D?
Let's see here. The options for today's factoid are A, Rip Democracy, Sports, Prius, Harambe.
That's too late for Harambe. So I have Vanden says I should answer A, RIP Sports. What would have been happening? Maybe a lot of political stuff. Maybe let's go A. Let's go Sports. He could have said RIP Sports based off of political propaganda coming into it. I don't know.
Okay. All right, let's check it out.
Let's rock with it.
Rip Harambe.
Wait, did Harambe die in 19? I thought he died back in 2014 or something. I thought that was really old.
In 2019, according to the official Elon Musk Wikipedia page, 2019, Musk, through Emoji Records, released a rap track, Rip Harambe, on SoundCloud. Pretty crazy stuff, huh?
Rip Harambe,
Pretty crazy. Now, the only thing crazier than that would be if I... This is the song.
Really loud.
Is it loud?
And we thinking about you. Elon? Smoking on so strong, and gorillas.
I'm not sure if that's a.
I do not think that that's Elon.
I think it is. I think it's the
I have no.
emoji
I don't
records.
think so. I'll tell you what. Let's get into the Q&A here. If you guys want to hear when T-Shirm actually finds the song, we'll post it in Discord.
No, I
in the
think that's
general
it.
chat. That is not Elon.
It's from 5 years ago, and it's from the emoji records.
Oh my gosh. All right, whatever. We'll play
It has 3 million plays. That's a lot.
Let's get in here. Let's do some TA. I see, someone asked for render earlier. We're going to start with render. I see ICP. I see the CKB. Someone said ETH. Let's get into some of those bigger ones for sure. All right, so render one. I remember I told you guys some of the altcoins I think could potentially go a little lower. They might go a little lower. We did fall back, and I like the fact that a lot of the candle body closes here on the daily chart closed around this yellow line, which has been tracking for a while. What I don't necessarily love, let's take a look here, guys. You're going to see when we look at other altcoins, this is the daily chart. Shout out to Lux ALGO. Lux ALGO is one of the tools that I have been using to make all of these calls that most of these coins went down to almost perfectly. On render, you have a lot of confluence for take profit somewhere closer to $6, somewhere closer to $6.05. Big order block right here. We did have our take profit. No, we hit the beginning of the take profit, the first level of our take profit suggestion, but you can see me coming down here as well. Our green support wave or cloud comes in this level as well. So did we have a big pullback? Yes. Render now is officially, when it wicked down there, it got down more than 50% to the downside, 53%. But render is one I potentially could see falling back down to this level. I don't think that we need to go all the way back down to $3.60. I think if lower levels come into play, we're talking about, again, back down here to $6. Not going to rule out these. I'm not going to say ignore them whatsoever. Let's watch. But for now, the daily chart has not seen the green wave touched since all the way back here in August of 2023. That is one that I'm looking at a lot of altcoins coming back to that level. A lot of them already have. Render, I'm going to keep a cautious level of optimism here, but I think that there's a decent chance it does go a little bit lower, right? So keep your eyes there. Let's take a look at some other coins. Someone said Ethereum. Tim, can you look at Ethereum? Ethereum hit our take profit level perfectly. Got really close to that green wave. Didn't quite get into it necessarily, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I think Ethereum has to drop all the way back to 22. If Bitcoin goes to 48K, I'll give that one to you. If Bitcoin goes to 48K, keep an eye on these order blocks coming in down towards 2,000. But this is one, again, as we get close and we kind of bounced off that green wave, we hit our take profit. I'm not going to be surprised if Ethereum is done bleeding. Also, why? Because this is, I told you guys, don't expect massive drops on Bitcoin and Ethereum like you would for others. This brings Ethereum back from the high of this cycle. A nice correction of about, if I can get this kind of perfectly, give or take 30%. I think that's good. I think Ethereum down 30%, Bitcoin down 18%. That actually tracks, makes a lot of sense. If we were to go to the 4 hour, the 4 hour is only going to tell us the next couple of days. 4 hour looking a lot more bullish here. Yes, we kind of got rejected on the 4 hour smart trail concept, but I think that's one that kind of finds a bounce and continues to the upside there. Not necessarily too worried about that one. So there's our Ethereum. What else do people say? ICP. ICP is definitely one that hit technically just a little bit lower, but I told you guys, watch that order block, watch that orange line, watch that daily smart trail concept. Do we have some a little bit lower here? We do have a take profit lower down towards 946, but there's a lot of support right in that range. Again, so could ICP potentially drop a little lower down here in the $9 range and get into the green support band? It could. It is one that touched the green support band back here in March 20th. So that's why I don't think that is one that screams as over bought as others, because it actually did trade nice sideways, found some green support, and then bounced to the upside. Now it's finding it again. There should be a lot of support in there. Now on the daily chart, MACD looks to slowly be curling over. The RSI is definitely low, but we still are technically negative here, even in the money flow. So could it come a little bit lower? It could. It absolutely could. But I'm kind of looking at a lot of the coins to get back. Not going to be surprised to see some double bottoms on some of these coins where you can still get some back here at around $11. Even if you drop down to $9, I feel good about another $11 purchase here on ICP. The worst of it is over for sure. These people calling for brand new lows on altcoins, Not going to happen. We're talking about ICP would need to drop back down below $2. Not going to happen. I do not see a world where that happens. What were some other ones? Someone said ICP,
Chainlink, and Optimism.
Chainlink. All
Crypto
right.
After Dark said, Tim, my brother in Christ, Optimism chart, please. After all, it's op-tim-ism. I thought that was a little clever.
I like it. I like it a lot. Chainlink is just even where it is right now is screaming buy. Came back down. I told you guys about the significance of $17, but if it got lost, keep an eye on that 13. And I said, I almost made it sound like the worst case scenario here would be like that $12. We actually got to that $12 range, but finding a lot of support here back at that $13.27, $13.30 range, sitting squarely in that green support band. This is one, again, we had touched it back in January. Chainlink, I don't know when, how, or why, but it's going to pop off. When I say why, I mean, I don't know what the catalyst is going to be, but Chainlink is we're going to wake up one day and Chainlink is going to be sitting north of $40 and people are going to be like, darn it, I should have bought. I would be adding, if you do not have a significant Chainlink bag at the moment, I would be adding to it. Daily chart is starting to show the signs of keeling back over. Again, we were 100% on that day. We dipped down to $12, 100% oversold. We have that green triangle coming in. The MACD is keeling back over. This is one that I definitely think is worth buying here. But yeah, that's what we're kind of looking at there. There's a take profit suggestion, and you're going to see this actually a lot. I want to show you guys this one, but I'm going to show it to you on others. Anyone who uses Lux Algo, and again, this is one of the charts that this is one of the tools that helped me predict these bearish breakdowns. Someone's going to say, well, Tim, the take profits at 10.95 even could go even lower, back down towards $8. Shouldn't we be using that one? Let's actually start off by just saying it is interesting that we've never retapped 940, 960, give or take, the resistance level back here. If Bitcoin goes to 48K, I think Chainlink could come down to these levels. But I want to show you why I am not looking at this take profit suggestion and giving it a lot of weight. If you are, I'm going to show you why you might not. Let's hit add replay, right? Let's come in here because the sell order came in way back here on March 16th, right? So let's just take a look. When this sell order flashed, let's fast forward, right? Boom. Where did take profit come down to? 1360. All right, so now you kind of play this out. It took us a long time to hit this take profit. We were bouncing. Okay, I gotta give you one. We were bouncing off that smart shell concept, but eventually we did hit our take. Come on now. We did hit our take profit. Boom. And then after hitting our take profit, it readjusted. The times when I see the take profits not hit, more often than not, the take profit suggestions from Lux Algo that don't get hit are the secondary take profit suggestions, meaning the first level got hit and filled, and then it was so bearish in this case that they gave you another one, and that one didn't come to fruition. But it's just because there hasn't been enough signs. The reason we have a lower take profit is we hit our previous take profit, and there's not enough bullish signs yet on the chart to warrant switching this up and going above. If I were to give you, I actually didn't even check this. Let's go see what the contrarian signal is saying. Look at that. Contrarian signal is now saying take profit to the upside, right? So the people who are saying, hey, I'm going to try to make these early predictions on switchings of changes, they're now looking at Chainlink and saying price should go to the upside, not the downside. So take that as you will, but Lux Algo called these dips perfectly. And if you're using a tool right now and saying, oh, well, Lux Algo says to go a little lower, is it possible? It's possible, but I want you to know those are brand new take profit predictions, not the originals. The originals were solid and called these bottoms very, very well. Now they're updating them just because that's how the algorithm works. I tell people, whenever you use Lux Algo, by the way, don't turn your brain off and use Lux Algo. It is a phenomenal tool that if you know how to use it, will make you a lot of money trading. But you still need to use some common sense to know when to use the sell signals, the buy signals, when to enter, when to exit. And if you know how to use it, if you know how to use your brain, this tool will make you a lot of money. Also, when you sign up, we've had a lot of signups in the last week or so. Make sure if you're signing up for Lux Algo, take advantage of it. Go to our Discord and fill out. In fact, like let me actually show you guys what that looks like. Don't share my screen just yet, T-Shrimp, because I want to get here. But yeah, there we go. All right. So if they go to my screen now, if you go to our Discord and you come down here and you click under VIP traders, get access, you can create a ticket. In this ticket, you just comment your ID. Give me your receipt. Give me your ID for you purchase Lux Algo. I'll come in and just create a new ticket. Tim create a new ticket. I'll come in and manually bring you into the group. So if you bought Lux Algo or you want to be a part of our trading group where we're giving calls and we're discussing and I'm giving feedback on trades, make sure to connect. Go get Lux Algo and then connect with me and I'll bring you guys in. By the way, I don't know if I'm going to be able to this week because it's a little chaotic week, but I'm going to start doing at least a once a week traders call in Discord with our VIP trading group. Our OGs get in for free. So if you're an OG, you guys don't even have to get Lux Algo, but for new people and new viewers, would love to have you in there. Just go get Lux Algo. You will not regret it. You will make money. I'll show you how to make money, and you can join our trading group. Nice and easy.
Very cool. Links in the description of this video for Lux Algo as well to make all that happen. Just below where you're watching, see the lovely beard here. Just scroll down. Ooh. Boom, boom, boom. Gotta love it. Got to love it.
Shaka Boom said Solana. Now, Solana's a big one, guys. This is one that I probably got the most amount of flack for. And yet it did it just perfectly. Take a look where the take profit on Lux Algo was. Now, we haven't hit this green support band. Could we go a little? Remember, I've told you guys 100 is potentially still in the cards here. That is where the green support is as well. So if we go lower on Solana, that's kind of what I'm watching, the $100 range, where we have a nice fat order block. We have our green daily support band as well. But if you guys are wondering, why are we so big on Lux Algo and why did Tim utilize it so much, is because these are part of the reasons why I was making these large pullback predictions, and they called it here just perfectly. Yeah, so Solana, again, like I just said here, could we go a little lower? We could. If I bring up the oscillators here, you are going to see we're still negative right now. That's one of the reasons why Solana potentially could go a little bit lower. It is one of the ones that could go lower. Not brand new lows, just lower than where we currently are. MACD still speeding up. The RSI, yes, we flashed, we were slightly oversold, but nowhere close to 100%. The money flow is still negative. The RSI is still negative. We're not getting these massive reversal signals on Solana necessarily, which this probably is a good time to explain to you guys why, let's go back over to Bitcoin here for a second. I don't necessarily think that Bitcoin has to reverse. Bitcoin, while it's technically under a sell order that just flashed today, let's see what happens with that over the next couple of days. It'll reprint a take profit, and it's not near its support level right here just yet. I think that you come out here and you look at these larger time frames, and Bitcoin still has a lot of the calls going to the upside. We did pull back after the really, really terrible news, and it just wasn't a significant pullback. The chart that has benefited the most, and it's pulled back here a little bit, but the chart that's benefited the most during this entire process is this one right here, the Bitcoin dominance chart, which did just have a weak close above 55%. Not only was that the highest close of this whole cycle, that's higher than what we've had wicks at before. This Bitcoin dominance chart is climbing to the upside, and what you should expect over the next little bit is, again, continual sideways Bitcoin / bearish alts, or everything goes positive, but just Bitcoin outpaces. So maybe altcoins go sideways and Bitcoin goes up, or everything goes up, but Bitcoin goes up a lot faster. Either way, I do not think the Bitcoin dominance chart is finished here. That's a big wick we had up above there, but take a look here as I pull in the oscillators. We're kind of just getting the ball rolling. Is there a red reversal dot? Maybe, but that money flow is just now crossing the bullish threshold. We're seeing that positivity move to the upside, excessive buyers coming in, which, again, when those leave, we might see a big dip. But when the excessive buyers come in, a lot of times they stay for a while. I think that that's just getting started. This is reason to be bullish on Bitcoin dominance, and that means not so bullish on altcoins. Like if someone's asking, is this the best time to buy altcoins? Well, it's the best time to buy altcoins if you haven't bought altcoins in a while and you need to add to your bag for the long haul. But don't expect your altcoin purchases today to make you 3, 4, 5x in the next month or two. That's just not this. That's not the time period that we're in right now. Let's see. Candle Daddy. We have a couple of things here in comment section. We have a super chat. I think we actually might have 2 super chats. We might need to scroll back and read another one. We do.
I've got
Candle Daddy said, how can we get into VIP with no Lux already in Discord? Well, Candle Daddy, are you an OG member? I think that's probably going to be a problem. If you're not an OG member, that's what people get in without Lux Algo. But again, if you want to trade and you want to be in the VIP group, there's no point in being in the trading group if you don't want to trade. And if you do want to trade, I highly recommend having the Lux Algo signals, because I'll show you how to use them heavily, and you'll make your money back very, very quickly when you are in that group and you're looking at those signals and I'm giving you feedback on what to keep an eye on. So I think you're going to have to get Lux Algo there, Candle Daddy, but it will be worth it if you want to be trading. I have Vanden said TA on SWFTC. What is SWFTC?
Not sure. Yeah, pull it up on the charts.
It is some coin. I don't know. Swift coin? I don't know. Let's go to the daily chart. Let's see what's happening here. Not a big pullback whatsoever. What's the percentage of this pullback? Because sometimes charts can be misleading. This could be significant. Oh yeah. So it had a nice 53% pullback. It just, again, in light of how explosive it's been, that's just not a bad looking chart here. Let's turn on Lux. Let's see what's happening here. Did pull back down to that smart trail concept. Of course, we do have the take profit coming in lower. We have that order block and the rising green support band. I like a purchase here around 0.2 cents, 0.28 cents, 0.0028. Yeah, that's 0.28 cents. I'm just very quick and dirty TA, but yeah, we're still bleeding here. I mean, you're seeing some turnover, but you weren't necessarily seeing anything flashing oversold. This is one I think could keep pulling back. And remember, I told you guys, especially these smaller altcoins with these explosive rallies, 60, 70% pullbacks are not crazy. In this case, if my prediction is correct here, and we do fulfill that take profit and they get to that order block, we're looking at a 68% pullback. It's big. It is big, but that's just normal. Normal for these smaller altcoins. That is part of the crypto landscape. If you're going to win big, you also have the chance to lose big. So you got to keep an eye on those things. Look for purchases back there down towards 0.2 cents in my humble opinion.
On the fundamental side for it, $43 million market cap. It's ranked 736. This is definitely going to be a speculative play here. If you know something about the project and you're really bullish on it, and, as Tim said, there's kind of a good entry coming up maybe at those lower levels. But, I mean, it's using a bunch of buzzwords here, which aren't necessarily bad, but, cross-chain swap aggregator, combination of blockchain and AI technology. It's got some compatibilities with Bitcoin, ETH, and Polygon, Arbitrum, a lot of different compatibilities, and it is listed on Coinbase. So,
cool.
It looks like probably not a complete scam coin. I would say, on the face of it, but definitely do your own research on this one for sure. Yeah. And I have Aunt Vanden. That was not the only
2 super chats. Yeah.
Yeah. The other one was, which crypto narrative projects to you look for this cycle? To look into for this cycle? AI, NFT, ETFs, etc. That is quite an interesting smattering of options there. AI, NFT, or ETFs.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Let me change it up and give you some options you didn't put in there. I think AI technically still has some plays in there, but I don't even think you put the ones that you really should be watching. The 2 biggest ones, in my opinion, should be RWAs, or real world assets, and Bitcoin layer 2s. And I don't want to take away from other, layer 2s. I think there will be some Ethereum layer 2s and
Solana
potentially
layer
some
2s.
Solana layer 2s, maybe even some Cardano ones. But I think the Bitcoin layer 2s are going to be, they just have the most reason to catch up. Like, they're going to be going from 0 to 1,000 because they're layer 2s on Bitcoin.
Not to mention layer 1s, just other layer 1s like Injective, But
I think there are some layer 1s that are going to do well, but if we're talking about what ecosystems and what things are going to do the best, I think AI is solid. But to me, I'm gonna put real world assets and Bitcoin layer 2s actually as a more explosive field than AI. I think AI had a great beginning of the bull market and will finish strong, but I think a lot of their pumps are already out of the way versus real world assets and Bitcoin layer 2s are just getting started / haven't started yet. That's why I think there's more money to be made in those fields. Macalis Cialis, I don't know how you say that one, said, bedridden, predicting an event based on the wrong reason isn't a skill, it is luck. His TA maybe played out, maybe didn't. We can't know, so no conclusions. All right, that sounds like a good way of saying that I was right. It's probably about how we can read in that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
There was a good question.
There was a good question on the 9 a.m. stream this morning. I think it was better worded than that one, which is, would we have gotten this correction without the war, the escalations?
So here's what I'll say, because I think that's the point he's trying to make. It's like, oh, Tim didn't predict the war. No, I didn't predict the war. I predicted something would happen They would pull an excuse out of their butt, and that would be the reason for the crash. Now, again, I don't want to downplay and say that there's not a real war going on, but the fishiness of the details of that attack are very weird. That was very weird. It was not a legitimate attack. It was very weird. And whether we took advantage of it or whether it was orchestrated, I don't know. I'm not going to make that call, but I am going to say when McAllis, if you're saying I didn't call it, I didn't just say, oh, the chart's going to pull back and that's just it. I said they're going to pull back and there will be an excuse. Some story will break that I have no idea what it's going to be, and it will cause this. That's what happened. So did I predict the war? No, but I predicted a story that would crush and dismantle all the bullish narratives going on would happen, and that's exactly what happened. And now we find ourselves in a world where literally 4 days ago everyone was super bullish, and now everyone is predicting brand new lows. That's not coincidental to you? I think I did call it. I mean, you can agree to disagree, but I think I did call it.
I think you did too. Another super chat.
RC Moore said TA on Trex 20, please.
Yep. I've got it pulled up here on CoinGecko, and it is a $6 million coin, fully diluted market cap or fully diluted valuation. So it's not, the market cap is not printed. So this is very likely to be something that you would want to do an infinite amount of research on.
Yeah, go to my screen here real quick, and we're going to be very brief with this because look at the chart. This is the 4-hour chart. Look at how few candles are here on the 4-hour chart on MEXC. There's just not a lot of TA to be done here. So I can't, there's no history. There's no relevance here. I guess you could say there's levels of resistance and support to keep an eye on, but news is going to affect this one way more than charts will. There's just not enough analysis here to do for charts to be helpful. Sorry about that, RC. Fundamentally, if you like it, it looks relatively low compared to where it's been. So if you like it long term, it looks like a decent buy option at the moment, but I can't say that with any certainty whatsoever.
Yeesh.
Oh, Crypto After Dark said optimism. We did pass over optimism, didn't we?
We did.
Yes, we did. All right, let's go to optimism here.
OP.
Right. OP dropped out of our signal right here. Lost our good support. I'm just kind of looking at what I don't think I gave a call on OP, but I will say we came back down to some resistance right in this range. I think I made observations like this is a great candidate for over 50 to 60% pullbacks. Guess where we pulled back to? 62%. So, there's a level of, I didn't make a particular call there, but I made observational picks. Came down below that order block. We hit our take profit. All this is looking good. Now that the green support band is very quickly dropping to the downside. So keep an eye on 169 now that we've kind of been in this order block, but it still exists. This is one that I think definitely double bottom is in play back towards $2. And then you're kind of keeping your eye around 169 here. But this is optimism is a coin that has taken its blows already. Like it got to a place where it was 100% oversold. We're super low there on the daily MACD. In fact, we've never on the Binance chart been this low on the MACD. Take that and do with it what you want. We're printing a bunch of bullish divergences. The money flow is still negative, but a lot of reversals and bullish divergences are in play here on the daily chart here. So optimism, I think, took a lot of its bumps and bruises, whereas some other altcoins didn't probably leave it all out in the field, and they might have a little more bleeding to do. But we're closer right now to these bottoms than we were 4 days ago for sure. So if you're sitting here saying, Tim, are you saying hold off to buy or buy now? I'm sitting here saying play your odds, and then make your risk assessments based off of it. Are you confident it's going lower? Maybe you want to wait. But ultimately, a couple of days ago was a bad buy signal. Now it's like, man, you're significantly lower than you were 4 days ago. It's a smart buy now. Whether it's a perfect buy or not, I can't answer, but I love where these coins are sitting for smart buys as we're down upwards of 50, 60% from where we were here a couple of weeks ago. WL Sharp said TA on Stronghold, please. WL Sharp, give me a ticker for that one. I don't know the ticker for that one. Bitcoin with a triple top, sorry, says Renee Montejanero. Okay, we got a lot of... Listen, I was the bear here last week. I think we're getting some bears here in chat. Bears are roaring their heads today.
SHX, according to CoinGecko, this is a $31 million coin, so very low.
Okay.
And it's currently ranked 872 on CoinGecko by market cap. over the maximum chart, it's had a pretty characteristic, pretty normal looking bear market, and then has spiked from sub-zero all the way to 1 cent. So that is impressive, I will say. What do you see on the charts, Tim?
I'm not looking. That's too new to do charts on. I was looking at the next one, Ondo. Somebody asked to look at Ondo briefly. Let's turn off some noise here. Not a very big pullback more recently. In fact, Ondo kind of through all the chaos stayed to the upside. But it had a healthy pullback back here. I guess that was 2 days ago. That was. So it's just rallying back up here. Is Ondo a good buy is the question, though. Let's see. Let's turn some stuff on here. Hit our take profit based off of that. Newest long, been back up and hit the 4-hour red reversal. It's a little different here because daily chart is not old enough to give us a lot of information other than the bounce off the smart shell concept. So go back to the 4-hour chart. I don't think so. I think expect a little bit more of a dip coming in here to play. MACD on the 4-hour definitely moving south. RSI moving south. We're getting we're waiting for the money flow maybe to keel over here, but you do have the reversal matching up perfectly with the bearish momentum right there, as well as after hitting our take profit, hitting the red rejection cloud. Let's just see what the daily oscillators are looking like. They're still bullish. The money flow is sideways, but everything else on the daily is looking bullish, unlike the rest of the space, bouncing off the 50. Wait for a little bit more pullback on Ondo. Give it a couple more days. Let's potentially look for a price action. I want to see what happens when it comes back to the smart shell on the 4-hour back at 75 cents. So it's too early to say that that's definitely a good buy spot, but I want to see, do we get a bounce there? Do we get a sell order? Do we have a new take profit? It looks interesting because the 4-hour is definitely turning bearish on us as we're speaking.
Now, Tim, over the weekend, I did deploy some capital into some new projects.
Okay.
STX was one of them. Stacks. And then also Ondo was the other. And not only that, I bought some more Ondo last night.
What'd you buy at? Do you know your buy order?
82 cents for Ondo.
Not bad.
Yeah,
Not
so
bad.
about the bottom of the range there on the scary spookies. Now, what I also will say is that Ondo, all through the crazy Iran-Israel headlines over the weekend, Ondo was positive pretty much the whole weekend. It wasn't like up 12, 18%, right? But it stayed positive in a sea of red. So impressive.
Yeah.
Impressive. And today, I mean, you're getting a nice bid to the upside, 8.8%. Now, why is this? Because it has name association with BlackRock. Is anything confirmed? It looks like it is, but I think that there's enough, speculation that there's possibility that it's not. But yeah, Ondo, I think, is going to be very bullish with BlackRock tokenization.
Cool. Well, we're gonna have to wrap it up for today. I see a lot more suggestions and requests. Here's the thing, guys. The show is over for today. Come back, same time, same place tomorrow. But also, again, just one more ploy. If you want to get my thoughts on some of your favorite coins, one of the ways to do that is to be in the trading group. Again, I give you some of my charts and what I'm looking at to trade, but I'll also review your trades and look at some coins that you guys want to see. So go get LuxAlgo, then go to Discord, show us your ID that you purchased LuxAlgo, come in. And for nothing else, even if you don't want to use LuxAlgo, if you think it's worth it to pay that to get my advice on your trades, then it should be well worth it, but you're also going to get an amazing trading tool as well. Go check it out today. With that said, though, it's good to be back. Go buy some crypto. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Adi.
Oh.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got your word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.